Hi, I am Trouble, and this is the first 500 miles of my Southbound Pacific Crest Trail adventure. I hope it gives you even a fraction of an idea of what it was like for me to hike. Washington was gorgeous and blew me away with its rugged, raw beauty. Around every bend was another amazing view. At times, the beauty was so overwhelming that I actually had to distract myself by listening to the music I had originally brought along for the hard ups. Even with all my pre-trip preparation, I had absolutely no idea that Washington was this breathtaking. And the trail was gentle, gradual winding ups and downs. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was so much easier than I ever expected. I had purposely chosen the road less traveled, or in this case, the direction less traveled, but was surprised by how many other hikers had decided to hike Southbound as well. I was so happy to see other friendly faces, especially after the sketchy snow sections or miles of traversing icy slopes. I had been prepared to hike most of the trail alone, but I was so relieved when I realized I wouldn't have to. Oh, and about all that snow. I started on July 1st, and I don't regret my start date at all, but after talking to several other hikers who started a few days later, it seems that they all had substantially less snow to travel over than I did. Some of my favorite memories are of the snow-covered mountains that first week on the trail, but sometimes I wonder what Glacier Peak looks like without snow, and would I even recognize it? I'd mailed ahead food for all of Washington, but I could have easily resupplied in the tiny towns along the way. Although the towns are farther from the trail than what I was used to, I'd had no problems hitchhiking Washington. There are so many amazing people willing to help. Because there were so many Southbound hikers compared to other years, I tried to avoid asking for help from the known trail angels, as they seemed overwhelmed and crowded. This ended up costing me a little more money, but it also gave me a little more space and privacy to call home and upload my journal while I was in town. I do regret not having the chance to meet trail angels who have helped thousands of hikers over the years, but to those who helped me, thank you so much. You have no idea how much you have enhanced my hike. My favorite trail angel memory from Washington actually began a long time before my adventure did. I met Trail Angel Bob on a Facebook forum. He sent me trail updates, weather information, and helped me sort out logistics of the first section of the trail. Arriving from another country can sometimes make starting a new trail a little more daunting, but Bob made things so easy for me. He offered to meet me hours away from his home and pick me up when I arrived by ferry. He also picked up Smiles, another hiker, and took us everywhere we needed to go. He made several stops, helping me set up an American phone plan, mail food ahead, and stop for more groceries. Even after our chores were done, he drove us around to show us a few trail towns near Hart's Pass before welcoming us to his home for the night. The next day, he not only brought us to the closest road access to the Canadian border at Hart's Pass, but he stayed and he camped with us too. Thank you so much, Bob. I can't pinpoint the scariest moment in Washington, but there was definitely a day where I spent several hours kicking in every single step along a very, very steep, icy slope. Later that same day, when I thought I was out of danger and in the clear, I had sped up a bit, and I ended up sliding off the trail and then spent a long, long time trying to climb back up slippery, wet grass to get back to the actual trail. It was only days later in town after a shower that I noticed the huge gash on my butt. I guess that counts as scary. I was definitely overwhelmed, and I couldn't believe how relieved I felt the next day when I came across other hikers who shared their own nightmare experiences from the previous day. I've been asked many times what my favorite section of the trail was, and honestly, I still don't have a good answer. But Washington was by far my favorite state. Those first few days on the trail, the epic views, the giant cedars, along with Goat Rock Wilderness, that makes Washington a place I long to return to.
I took one or two just to make sure that there was a picnic. I had something to show you today, but like I think it was like a waterfall or.
You show people why you didn't take any pictures.
My happiest moment on the trail in Washington? I'm not sure. I don't know. I loved every single minute of it. But now that I'm back at home and I have had a chance to reflect, I think I enjoyed being on my own the most, knowing that other hikers were around and I could be with people whenever I wanted to. This was the first time I'd ever walked through burns, and Washington had lots of them, more than I imagined. At first, it was kind of devastating walking through these dead trees, but after a while, it was actually pretty beautiful. I'm in town, I need to check out that book, Hiker's Companion.
Go for it.
There was a point on the trail in Goat Rock Wilderness where I could see Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, and Mount St. Helens all at the same time. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it.